Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna take care of those dirty valves from my V6 3.3 from Kia or Hyundai. They are the same, and I'm gonna show you how you can have this result very easy, very cheap by yourself. In this video, we're gonna cover every single connector, every single attach that you are gonna have to remove and make you confident to do this job by yourself. Remove the beauty cover, and now what you want to do first is disconnect the ground. To remove the air duct intake, like this, you can put it on the side right there. And now what you want to do is to remove those two bolts. There's 10 millimeters. And now we want to remove the battery. You have a 12 millimeters right there. And now you got a handle like this, and you can remove the battery. You want to disconnect this connector like this, and now you want to insert a flat screwdriver in the groove right there, like this, like this. You want to remove this clamp right there. It's the hose, the vacuum hose, and now you take a pick like this, and you try to walk around like this. It's gonna be much more easier to remove, and you can also try to put some silicone spray around the hose if it didn't want to come out. And after that, you want to remove this one. You can always try by hand. Sometimes it's easy, like this. Now you want to remove the clamp around the hose of the intake tube. It's a 10 millimeters. Now you want to get it out. And now we are ready to remove the intake with the box, like this. And you're gonna have much more space for working. Look the space we got now. And now what we want to do is to remove the 10 millimeters at each corner of the throttle body. Be careful, because those hoses right there are there to make sure that the throttle body not freeze in the winter. So you don't want to remove this hose because there's coolant in it. So just remove the 4 bolts. Gonna check if our throttle is clean or not. It looks clean. My Sedona got around 60,000 miles, and it's pretty clean. But if your is dirty and you see some black ring around it like that, you can use a throttle body cleaner and make sure this plate is really clean. I'm gonna show you later. And now you want to remove the boost brake hose right there. Like this. Like this. Don't forget to plug back this hose, because you're not gonna have power brakes. And now you want to remove this hose right there. Like this. Now you want to remove the 2 bolts of the harness. There's another one right there. You can try to place your nuts where it goes on the engine. If it's the top right, put it top right. What we want to do is just to follow every wires and disconnect everything one by one. This step, you want to take your time and work carefully, because you don't want to break any connector. The key is to take your time. Don't rush anything, and nothing's gonna happen. And at the end, when you're gonna replug everything, don't worry, because every connector is unique, male to female, so you cannot miss this step. You just want to not forget a connector. Everything is very well designed. Now you want to remove this connector right there. So this one is really easy. You just want to push down to disengage the connector. And now this one, same thing. You want to push down and it comes very easily. And now to remove those famous plastic clips, there's the tricks. So now what we want to do, I'm gonna show you another example, but you want to push the pin under the plate to the center and lift the side, and push the other side and lift like this. You have to push on the side and lift, and push on the side and lift, and it's not gonna break anything. So take your time for this one. And the next one is there. Okay, so the next one, you're gonna see clearly what I mean. So you have to push on the side and pull like this, push the other side and pull like this. So you want to remove this one, you can do it by hand. You just have to push on this side and pull like this. But I know sometimes the connector can be seized, so you can always buy those kind of pliers, and it's really nice to remove the connector. And now we remove the foam around the GDI pump. This is the high pressure fuel pump for your GDI system, gasoline direct injection. And now what we want to do is to remove the harness of the coil pack, and those one there's a tricks to remove it. So you want to take a pick, and there's a little edge right there. You carefully want to pull like this, and now you want to squeeze the connector. So you just have to push on the side like this right there and pull on it. So you have 3 to remove like this. Okay, like this one for the GDI pump, you don't have to remove it. So now on this side, you want to remove this attach like I showed you before. Push on the side, pull, push on the side and pull. So it's gonna give you more room to remove those connectors. And now this one at the top, you just have to squeeze down and pull. And now the other one right there, always the same thing. You just have to squeeze and pull. And now the next one, you just have to push down and pull like this. This one is the same. You just have to push down and pull like this. And we got those two, the blue and the orange. It's the same. Push down and pull. And same thing for the blue, push down and pull like this. You got also this one right there. You got a lip that you want to lift. So you want to lift the little plastic pin right there. So now I'm gonna remove the connector of the harness like before. Pull on the side like this. Okay, so the only connector left for the wiring harness, this one is the, you have to push down and pull the other side. And now you got the last one. It's gonna be hard for me to show you, but you just have to follow the wire and you have to push down on the middle and pull. I'm gonna show you when I'm gonna have the connector in hand. If you follow the line right there, I'm gonna show you where he is. So this is right there, the connector that I told you. So you just have to push on the top to release it. So this is the connector, the far one, and you have to push down right there on the middle, on the little tab right there. So, and you pull. And the last one you want to remove for the connector harness is this one. So it's the same thing as you see. You have to push and on side pull and push the other side and pull. And now we're gonna lift on this one, and now you can take your wire wiring harness and get out of the way. And now you can take a bungee cord like this and attach your harness, so you're not gonna have the harness on your way. Okay, so now we are ready to remove the intake. We just have to remove a couple of bolts. So there's 4 of 10 millimeters right there. And 2 on the top. They're more long, like this. So you got 2 nuts, 1 there and 1 on the other side to remove. Like this. This one right there. Be careful to not drop this bolt. Okay, now I'm with a mirror because I want to try to show you where the bolt is. So let me focus. Okay, so as you see in the mirror, this is a 14 millimeters. So the bolt is just under the connector blue, a little bit right there at the end of my finger right there. It's very easy to remove it. So you can use a small ratchet with a 14 millimeter socket. If you got those type of wrench, it's way easier, but just a regular wrench like this will do the job. In this case, I'm gonna go with the ratchet. Don't worry, I'm gonna show you where it sits when I'm gonna remove the intake. So this is the 14, and now we should be able to lift the intake like this. All right. Okay, so you want to remove this hose too on the throttle body. Don't worry, this one don't got coolant inside of it. It's just a vacuum. Gonna try by hand. Okay, so it's gonna be much more easy to lift the intake. Now that the intake is a little bit loose, it's the good time to take a clean rag and make sure there's nothing drops inside of the intake port. And now I got 2 10 millimeters that holds a power steering line at the back of the intake. So I'm gonna be able to completely remove the intake. So I'm at the back of the intake, and as you see, this hose right there, it's held with a bracket with the 2 10 millimeters. I'm gonna take the time to remove it to get the maximum space to show you how it's done. And finally, you are there. You can remove the intake. Okay, so as you see, there's where the 2 10 millimeters bolts were set to hold this, I think it's power steering hose. This is the back of the intake, the side that you cannot see. And as you see, this is the place for the 14 millimeters, and this is the 2 for the bracket of the power steering hose. Sorry for my English. There's 10 millimeters. So this is the back of the intake. Okay, so now that the intake is removed, I want to remove this lower part of the intake and clean the valves. And now, before to remove any bolt around it, I want to make sure there's nothing drops inside the hole. So I'm gonna take 6 clean towel and make sure there's nothing can fall inside of it, like this. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove a couple of X around it, and we got this 10 millimeter right there to remove. Okay, to remove the X, you want to be very careful, okay? If you do like I do, you're not gonna have problem, I promise. But don't try anything else that the technique I'm gonna show you. You take your air and you want to clean the whole of every X to make sure there's no dust, because you want the socket to be at the bottom completely of the bolt. And now you want to get a 6 millimeter X like this, and I prefer the impact one because the metal is much more stronger, and you don't have the risk to strip the X. And now what you're gonna do, you're gonna take your X and you're gonna tap a little bit like this. It's enough. And now you're gonna take a ratchet, no power tool, and you're gonna feel if it come out, because they are a little bit hard to crack. So now I pre-crack everything, so we just have to remove every X. Good. So remove the X before trying to remove the intake. There's 8 of them. You remove this 10mm right there. And now we're gonna have enough room to remove this 12mm. You should be able to lift the intake like this. All right. So this is the lower intake manifold. So this is the states of my valve. I'm gonna clean that. To be honest, I've seen way worse valve than that. So now you want to close the valve, and to do that you're gonna go under the wheel, and as you see at the front passenger wheel, you're gonna see this bolt right there. This is the bolt for the crank. So you want to turn the bolt clockwise always in this direction, and you're gonna need a 7/8 socket. So you just have to go on the bolt crank, and you just have to turn the ratchet clockwise, and you're gonna make the valve open and close. You're gonna be able to see it clearly. If you look the valve, they're gonna goes up and down. What I'm gonna use liquid moly, the valve cleaner. I'm gonna put a little bit of it, and if the valve are correctly closed, it should not drop inside the cylinder. So be careful to drop just a little bit to see if the fluid accumulate inside of the valve chamber. Like this. By the way, I see some people try to clean valves with oven spray cleaner. Please don't do that. This stuff gonna eat the aluminum inside of the valve channel, and it's gonna create very tiny pores that it's gonna be very quickly full with carbon buildup. Once that cavity is gonna be created with the stuff, carbon buildup will be very hard to clean, because it's gonna enter in every little port that you create with this stuff. So please don't do that. As you see, the liquid don't drop. I know in camera it's hard to see, but with the eyes we can clearly see that nothing fails. So now I'm gonna let that soak a couple of minutes, and I'm gonna show you a DIY way to remove every carbon buildup that we see right there. So this is the back of the car. So when this cylinder is closed, this one is closed too. So we're gonna make the both intake port in the same time, but be sure to inspect if she is really close. Look at this one. We clearly see the gap, so we see that the valve is open. If we put some liquid on that, it's gonna fall inside the engine. That's not good. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put some clean towel carefully where we don't want to work, and let those two ports open to clean that. Okay, another way to prevent the build-up carbon on the valve is to use seafoam can like this, and they give the straw like this to put inside of the intake, and you should run the car with this spray, and it's gonna mix with the air and flows into the valve, and you just have to follow the steps on the can. But the problem I don't like with this is because the carbon have to go somewhere, and they said that it not clog the catalytic converter, but I'm not want to take the guess, and because I have to do the spark plug, it's a great time to clean the valve. So I prefer this way because I'm gonna manually remove all the gunk, and with the chemical aids that I put on the valve, it's gonna be very easy for me to lift that dirt. So you can always, if you don't want to do this job, you can always go with the chemical solution, but I'm not sure in 15 years what your catalytic converter looks like. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I'm there and I'm happy to get the chance to clean the valve. So it's the time to do that. I cut the end of the zip tie so they make sharp edge, so I hope it's gonna help to delodge the carbon buildup. I want to try this. I just take a bolt and cut a Scotch-Brite pad. Let's give it a try. Okay, I'm gonna suck all this gunk with this tool I make homemade with a shop vac, and I'm gonna suck every fluid. With that, I'm gonna put you the link of the description for this tool I made. For those one knows me, you know that I love do things with mayonnaise jar. So we're gonna try that. Oh yeah, works well. And now we're gonna blow air. So, as you see, it's not 100% perfect, but it's way better. I'm very happy with the result. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you got 3-cylinder closed valve and 3 cylinders open. So something like that, but for now, I got this one, and this one closed together. It depends where the stroke is. So you just can't, if you are not sure, look if the valve looks closed and put just a little bit of liquid inside of it, and if it don't drop, you're sure that the valve is closed. So now that you're putting fluid inside of the valve, you can take a pick and work with a flashlight. I really recommend you to use a little flashlight of this kind, like this, so you're gonna be able to see what you do. So use the Tarot method. If you want, you can use the Scotch-Brite method, and the combination with the pick, the Tarot and the Scotch-Brite, you're gonna do a great job and save a ton of money and preserve preserve your engine. So another tool I made, you take a flat screwdriver, you take a piece of Scotch-Brite at the end and you tape it around, so it make a good pad to scrub inside the valve. This tool really make a difference. So now you just have to scrub everywhere. So you can scrub the side, you can scrub everywhere. Seriously, I'm very impressed with this tool. It's by far the better one to remove everything. It's better than the pick, it's better than the zip tie. That's a game changer. This flat screwdriver is the best thing to remove the carbon buildup with the Scotch-Brite at the end. Look at this chunk I remove. So my fear is that this chunk goes and lodge inside of the catalytic converter. So this is why I prefer to do it manually and remove those kind of chunk of carbon. I hope you're gonna be able to see something, but this is not clean and this is clean with my method. As I said, it's not perfect. In the dealer, they're gonna put hazelnut. It's kind of blasting with hazelnut and clean everything. I'm gonna be honest, it's better than what I do, but for the money it costs almost nothing. Oh my god, what a difference. I'm very happy to do it. So now every valves are clean. I'm really happy with the result. I want to put your attention to those old hose, you want to put air inside of it to be sure there's no chunk or any debris inside the hole of the X you're gonna put back. So make sure those 8 holes are clean. So now it's time for a new gasket. So this is the gasket for the top of the lower intake, and if you see on the bottom, I got 6 of those gaskets to replace. So you can take the time to clean the port of the intake to make sure there's no debris in it. So I replaced the gasket there. There's a notch everywhere that you want to start the gasket, and same thing for this one. The notch is there, so you start your gasket and make sure everything is flat and well insert. This is the number for the throttle body gasket right there. Pick and with the new one like this. Okay, so let's go with the lower intake. Okay, something like that. So now what you want to do is to start every bolt by hand first, like this one right there. Put back the fastener for the hose, fuel hose, and we got a bracket right there for that, like this. Now before to try to power tool those X, you want to make sure that you start every bolt by hand, and what we want to do is when you pull on it, it don't come off, so you know you are in the thread. So now I'm gonna use the drill to not torque. So I'm just gonna tight it, but no pressure, because there's a torque procedure for torquing them to spec. All right. So the torque sequence is this one. So you want to torque this one first, this one second, third, and in this way. And the torque spec to start is 3 foot-pounds or 40-inch pound. So you just have to start in this way, and you're gonna retorque them after that with an higher torque spec, and we're gonna change the plate, the number, the sequence that we have right there. I'm gonna show you the schema of Kia on the camera right now. And now we're gonna torque that at 22 foot-pound with this sequence that I'm gonna put again on the camera. So the first one was the number, and the second one was the letter. Now it's a good moment to clean the throttle body before you reinstall the intake manifold. This is a specific spray can for that from CRC throttle body cleaner, and you just have to clean like that and wipe with a clean towel. Reminder for the bolt that you left. Those 2 bolts with the washer are for the intake box that you remove. After that, those 2 tiny, this 4 tiny one is for the throttle body. Those 2 one long are on the top of the intake manifold. This 4 is at the front of the intake manifold. 1 is for the back of the intake, the 14mm. You got the 2 nuts where sits the intake, and those 3 one are for the wiring harness at the front. 2 little tiny black one with the washer are for the hose at the back of the intake. I put a towel because before to sit the intake in place, I want to screw the 2 bolts of the bracket right there for the power steering. So I was able with a little bit of patience to put the 2 bolts of the power steering at the back of the intake. So take your time, take it easy, and it would go in it. So this is why I start with those one, because the angle of the intake give me room to screw the bolt of the bracket. Okay, so now that the hose is the bracket of the power steering hose is in place, I remove my towel and I'm gonna carefully sit the intake in place. like this. And now you're gonna start the 2 long bolt by hand. Taste it, sorry, right there. So you don't want to torque anything, you just want to start everything by hand. Those 1 or for there. Because if you start to torque them, you're gonna have a problem, because it's very important to be very great with the alignment. And now you can put the nut on the stud each side. And before to torque the front, don't forget to put the 14 millimeters at the back. Now it's time to torque the top of the manifold at 8 foot-pound. So you want to torque the bolts in cross and pattern. So by example, I'm gonna tight this one, this one, this one, after this one, and I'm gonna make a X pattern like that. Now you can torque by hand the 14 millimeters at the end for the last one. So this clip goes around the pipe right there. Don't forget the rubber between the 2 brackets. Perfect. So now we put back the brake booster vacuum line in place like that. And now you want to put this hose into this vacuum hose into the throttle body. Okay, like this. So now we are ready to screw back the throttle body with the 4 long black bolts. For this one I'm gonna torque them to 8 foot-pound. You can plug back this hose that we remove the intake manifold like this. Tricks before to put back the airbox: just a little bit of silicone spray inside. So now tight the strap. Okay, so now you're gonna put back the vacuum hose on place with the strap. You plug this hose right there like this. So the vacuum system is done. Now I'm gonna put the bolt with the 2 big washer for the air box. And now we're gonna start to put back every sensor. And now it's time for the 3 bolts of the harness. Now it's time for the connectors to put back in place. So you start at the top and you goes down slowly. Don't forget your strap for the wiring harness, like this, and this one like that, and now this one, okay, like this. And now you can make the coil pack back in place. Don't forget to push the tab. So now the second coil pack and the third coil pack. Don't forget to push the tab. And after that you have this one we disconnect before. And now you want to start by the 4-1. I'm sorry for this one because I cannot show you. After that the blue one. Yes, the yellow one. The gray one right there. And don't forget the hose, the wiring connector harness, like this one. Click. And after that, you got the gray one under right there. Okay, like this. And now put back the battery in place. Don't forget the bracket at the back, at the bottom. I'll always start with the positive. Now the air duct intake. If we make a quick overview, the 14 is tight, every connector is in place, everything is tight, every vacuum hose is plugged. So now it's time to start the car. All right, the motor needs that to be quiet. Back this phone because the engine is very loud. And now this is it for today. Thanks guys for watching. If you want to support me, please leave me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, do anything. I hope my video was amazing for you and you learn like me with this project. So thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.